A hungry homeless man noticed an elderly woman struggling to carry her heavy grocery bags. Without hesitation, he offered to help her and carried the bags to her house. The following day, the grocery store owner's employees approached him, grabbing his shirt and bringing him to the store. The woman had discovered something unexpected in her bag. People often say there is light at the end of the tunnel. But for some, it's easier said than done. Alfred Tyler, a carpenter from Texas, knows this all too well. In 2017, Hurricane Harvey devastated Texas. And Alfred lost not only his home but also his beloved wife, Sophia, who was among the hundreds of lives lost. Since then, Alfred has been living on the streets as a widower, feeling like he had lost all hope and unable to find employment. He stopped going to church and frequently argued with God, blaming him for his miserable life. But one day, in June 2021, God answered his questions in the most unexpected way. On a scorching afternoon, Alfred was wandering the streets, searching for some shade. He was parched and famished. And when he reached into the pockets of his tattered pants, he heard a few dimes clinking. He decided to save them to buy some bread for dinner. Exhausted and sweating, Alfred arrived at a supermarket's parking lot. It was crowded with vehicles, so he hoped to go unnoticed as he waited there. Whenever Alfred saw shoppers exiting the store, he would approach them, extending his trembling hands. Some would toss a dime or two into his palm, while others mostly ignored him as if he were insignificant. Alfred felt hurt, but he had grown accustomed to such indifference. In these moments, he would either force a weary smile or direct his frustration at God for his circumstances. Tired and hungry, Alfred's struggle continued. Alfred decided to take a nap in the empty spot where he had taken refuge for the afternoon. He had nearly drifted off to sleep when he heard a scraping noise on the floor a little farther away from him. He mumbled, "What's that noise?" and lifted his head to see an older woman exiting the supermarket with a shopping cart, struggling to unload her heavy bags. Alfred couldn't just stand by and watch. He got up, despite the fact that he could smell his own sweat, and approached the well-dressed woman. "Hi there. Do you need any help? Please give it to me. I'll help you out," he said. Grabbing the shopping cart, Alfred began unloading the bags from it and looked at her with a touch of shyness. "I can carry them for you to your house if you don't mind," he offered. The older woman was taken aback by the stranger's willingness to help. No one had offered to assist her like this before. She often shopped alone and most of the time had to carry her bags herself, loading them into her car. That day, she hadn't taken her car and had to walk home with the hefty baggage. After a moment of thought, she asked Alfred if he was sure. And she mentioned, "I have no money, young man. I can't pay you. I just spent my last dime shopping." She scrutinized the homeless stranger, assuming he might walk away angrily or curse at her for wasting his time. But Alfred's response touched her heart and made her realize that not all people in need were motivated by money. "You look like my mother. And I wouldn't charge my mother for my help," Alfred said. "Please allow me to carry these bags for you," he insisted. For about 15 minutes, Alfred followed the older woman to her house, carrying her bags. When they arrived at her home, she invited him in for a cup of tea, but he politely declined. The stranger's kindness deeply moved the woman, and she watched as Alfred waved and disappeared into the distance. Afterward, the woman checked her bag and was surprised to find an item she didn't remember purchasing. She examined the item and decided to track down the homeless man immediately. The woman returned to the supermarket the following day and looked for Alfred. But he was nowhere to be found. She entered the store and met with the owner, requesting his help in finding the homeless man. "Can you find him, please? He must have come here," she implored. "The CCTV footage should help. I saw him here yesterday." The store owner instructed the technician to review the footage, pointing at Alfred on the computer screen and asking, "Is that him?" The woman confirmed. "Yes, that's the guy. Let's find him." After seeing the homeless man in the store's CCTV footage, the supermarket owner dispatched his security guards to search for Alfred. The search for Alfred led the men to various places, including bus stands and parking lots, in the same town or on the same street. After hours of searching, they eventually found Alfred and grabbed him by his shirt. However, when the older woman saw how roughly they were treating him, she became furious and intervened, demanding they release him. She scolded them, saying, "Leave him alone. You were told to bring him, not drag him." Alfred, frightened and confused, pleaded his innocence, saying, "What's happening? I didn't do anything." Tears welled up in his eyes as he expressed his fear and confusion. He explained that these men had found him at the bus stand and asked if he had been there the previous day. When he confirmed that he had been, they forcibly brought him to the store. Despite his claims of innocence, Alfred continued to beg for his release. At that moment, the older woman approached him and gave him a comforting hug, leaving the others watching in surprise. The store owner, unaware of her connection to Alfred, asked, "Mom, what are you doing?" As it turned out, she was the supermarket owner's mother and wanted to meet Alfred to return the chain that had accidentally slipped into her bag. Seeing the chain and the picture inside, she asked Alfred if the woman in the picture was his wife. Overwhelmed with emotion, Alfred burst into tears, explaining that he thought he had lost the only memory he had of his late wife. He said, "I thought I'd never see it again." The older woman shared the story with her son, Jake, the supermarket owner. After a brief discussion, the mother and son approached the homeless man with some heartwarming news. Jacob asked, "What did you say your name was?" Alfred replied, "Alfred Tyler." Jacob extended his hand and introduced himself. "Mr. Tyler, glad to meet you. I'm Jacob Johnson. We were looking to hire someone to help our elderly customers carry their bags. I think it'd be a good fit. What do you think?" Alfred couldn't believe his ears. Tears streamed down his face as he folded his hands in gratitude and nodded enthusiastically. He was overwhelmed with joy. And for the first time since the tragedy in his life, he thanked God for this unexpected opportunity. Jacob handed him a uniform set and asked him to start the next day. Before leaving, Alfred turned to the older woman and expressed his deep gratitude, saying, "Thank you so much. You're no different from my mother." In response, she patted him on the shoulder and replied, "And you're no different from my son." As he prepared to leave, he asked her for her name, to which she replied, "Mary. My name's Mary Johnson." This revelation moved Alfred to tears once again, as his late mother's name was also Mary. From that day forward, Alfred, once a homeless man, enjoyed the sweet fruits of compassion. He had a good job and began attending church every Sunday. Furthermore, he never complained about anything or blamed God ever again. This heartwarming story illustrates the power of kindness, compassion, and unexpected connections in transforming a person's life. How do you think of Alfred's experience? There is another inspiring story about Police Kayla's once experience. Let's continue. A police officer pulled over a lady driver with a passenger on the road. As she opened the car door, she mouthed, "Help me." Police officers are no strangers to danger, it's an integral part of their job. They undergo years of training to recognize and efficiently neutralize threats as quickly as possible. However, there are occasions when even the most experienced and courageous officers struggle to discern a genuine threat. In such moments, they must rely on their instincts to ensure the safety of everyone involved. Kayla Wallace is an award-winning police officer from South Carolina. Throughout her life, she had a strong protective instinct. From an early age, Kayla felt the need to protect others and was always seeking ways to get involved in activities where she could help and serve people. She was known for her humility, bravery, and altruism. There wasn't a hint of selfishness in her. Not even when there was reason to be selfish. Kayla always found a way to do something good for someone, making her exceptionally special. Her parents, Marlene and Charlie Wallace, were both civil servants working at North Myrtle Beach City Hall. They were well-liked in the community, described by their friends as extremely kind and helpful people. They had no enemies. When their only daughter, Kayla, was born 20 years ago, the community was overjoyed, knowing that this child would be just as good and indispensable to them as her parents were. And they were not wrong. By high school, Kayla had a clear idea of her future. She was a good student, excelling academically and athletically. She was the captain of the basketball team and the leading scorer in the last 2 state championships. While she was a superb athlete, Kayla realized that sports was not her ultimate future. Even though she loved it and it would always be a part of her life, Kayla had other plans and was clear about what she wanted to do once she finished her mandatory studies. Her guidance counselor, Angelina Beckett, was eager to help her make the most of her academic potential. She encouraged Kayla to apply to some of the best colleges in the state, convinced that her brilliance would be a valuable asset to any institution. However, to the surprise of many, Kayla had no intention of attending college. She had known this since she was a child, and her plans remained unchanged throughout her teenage years. When asked about her college plans, she replied with unwavering certainty, "I'm sorry, Miss Beckett, but I don't plan to send an application to any college, be it the best or the worst. I simply don't plan to go to college. That's the truth." Miss Beckett, known for her support of outstanding students, was taken aback. She had a habit of nurturing promising young talents and guiding them toward successful careers. But this time, Kayla's decision was resolute. She informed her guidance counselor that she aspired to become a police officer. Not just any officer but the best in the city's police department. She offered her word and a confident handshake, emphasizing her determination to pursue her chosen path. Kayla held true to her word. After high school graduation and months of rigorous training, she was sworn in as a police officer in January 2021. She fulfilled her promise to Miss Beckett, excelling as she graduated as the valedictorian of the police academy. In a remarkably short time, Kayla became one of the department's top officers, garnering more important assignments as she continued to excel in her role. During one routine night patrol, Kayla faced a significant challenge. While most shifts were uneventful, this particular night led to the arrest of a wanted suspect for a felony that had been reported only minutes earlier. Despite the seemingly routine nature of her duties, Kayla proved herself as a capable and dedicated police officer. Kayla Wallace was nearing the end of her shift as she patrolled the main avenue late at night. While on duty, She spotted a white Jeep running a red light. The car was speeding and had just committed a serious traffic violation. Without hesitation, Kayla accelerated to catch up to the vehicle and signaled it to stop. As Kayla approached the car to request the driver's identification and inform her of the infraction, she encountered something unexpected. The car was driven by a female with a male passenger, and the driver appeared to be in distress. She was breathing heavily, and her hands were tightly gripping the steering wheel. The male passenger, on the other hand, seemed impassive, ignoring the presence of the police and keeping his gaze fixed ahead. Kayla's intuition told her that something was amiss, and her gut feeling was correct once again. As Kayla examined the situation, the driver made eye contact with her and, without raising her voice, managed to utter a word that confirmed the officer's suspicions. "Help me." Kayla assessed the situation and decided to take action. She requested the male passenger to step out of the car, reassuring him that it would only involve a few questions to follow protocol, after which he would be free to go. Her intention was to separate the man from the driver, who had asked for help and appeared to be in distress. The passenger complied, and Kayla escorted him to her police vehicle, placing him in the back seat. Returning to the driver, Kayla inquired about the reason for running the red light and whether she knew the man in the passenger seat. She asked if he had threatened her, which might explain her difficulty in speaking. She assured the driver that she was now safe and encouraged her to share her story, promising that nothing would happen to her. The driver, whose name was Beatrice, was a middle-aged woman and a mother. She explained that the man in the passenger seat had just shot someone at a nearby gas station and then forced her to drive at gunpoint. She admitted that she had accelerated through the red light, out of sheer fear and panic. Kayla reassured Beatrice, telling her that she had nothing to apologize for and that she had acted bravely in a difficult situation. She consoled her, saying that anyone in her place would have done the same or even reacted more recklessly. But Beatrice had maintained her composure. Moments after Beatrice confessed, a BOLO alert was issued about a white Jeep SUV without license plates involved in a shooting. The situation had taken an unexpected turn, and Kayla's swift action had helped uncover a potential threat. Kayla Wallace received an alert just 10 minutes after placing the suspect in the back of her police car. The alert, broadcast over the internal radio, prompted her to officially arrest the suspect and place him in handcuffs. It turned out that the mysterious man in the white Jeep was allegedly responsible for a shooting at a nearby gas station. Police had described him as a black male wearing blue jeans and blue and white Jordan sneakers, matching the characteristics of the passenger in the white Jeep. Officer Wallace had no prior knowledge of the shooting. She had merely pulled over the vehicle for running a red light, unaware of the critical role she was about to play. Upon arrival at the police station, she learned that the arrested man faced multiple charges, including attempted murder, kidnapping, and possession of a weapon during a point-blank robbery at the gas station. The weapon was later found under the seat of the car in which the suspect and his hostage were riding. The car that Kayla had stopped for a red light violation had inadvertently become crucial evidence in the case. The police sergeant in charge commended Kayla for her courage and professionalism, acknowledging that her actions had saved a woman's life and prevented a dangerous criminal from escaping. He emphasized her cautious approach and her commitment to ensuring nobody got hurt during the arrest. Days later, Kayla was praised by her entire team for her outstanding work during the arrest. But her success didn't end there. The North Myrtle Beach Police Department recognized her as the Agent of the Year the following year. a prestigious honor for a police officer. She achieved this remarkable feat in just 3 years, breaking department records. Kayla's dedication and proactive policing efforts were cited as reasons for her selection. The department's official Facebook page celebrated her, describing her as a shining example of a dedicated guardian of the North Myrtle Beach community. Currently, Kayla holds the position of a police non-commissioned officer, making her the youngest in the department. She earned a promotion for her well-demonstrated merits and exceptional teamwork. The department emphasized that Kayla was a role model, a person who was brave, intelligent, and profoundly altruistic. Her love for the community was what made her truly special, and it had saved a woman's life from the clutches of a fugitive criminal. Kayla's disinterest in fame and her humble dedication to her duty were qualities that contributed to her remarkable success in life. Her story serves as a reminder that such virtues are keys to achieving greatness.